in my yard. Their roots are awesome and they're just really neat. Like, they have a story to tell. A lot of them have several eyes, faces. Look at that large eye up there. So much wisdom and knowledge in trees. Up there it has a whole bunch of eyes. This tree next to it as well. It's interesting because every single one of them in this yard have clusters of eyes, and you can tell they are eyes. Hello. So we have my tree, the dryad I have been communicating with, and this appeared today. I asked for a sign with the mushrooms. It is a complete little fairy ring. An entire complete fairy ring right by the dryad tree. I am so excited and happy and grateful because I know this is a sign. I can feel the magic in this earth. I can feel it around this tree. There's also a ring kind of growing around the stem and another ring close by. I know in Summer's video they talked about portals and holes in trees, and I have a door in the hole in this one. And next door to this tree is another one with a very large hole. And this tree, you can just feel something special about the energy with them. More mushrooms. There's also mushrooms growing around the tree next to it, which I definitely feel a tree spirit in, and it too has a hole. But what's interesting about this tree is that this one actually has a lot of eyes in it. Eyes that you can completely see and make out. This tree is so interesting. It's like a little cave. Hello darklings, lightlings, hybrids, everyone in between, how are you? I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel. I've almost got my voice back, guys. Improvement for me. Way to go. So, my immune system ain't gonna get me down forever. I refuse. We are on week 3 of hashtag Finding the Fae. This is a VR to Summer over at Astaria Sin, who is hosting the community collaboration created by Rochelle at Amethyst Ascension this month. And I'm really excited for this. I have been kind of channeling a lot behind the scenes, and I'm quite fascinated by information that I have been obtaining from what I believe to be the COG group, who recently revealed to me that they are a part, or somewhat what's left, of Lumeria. They've given me a whole bunch to think about. A lot of information I'm trying to process and really wrap my head around. They did also confirm to me that they have been called Fae before. I don't know what to think, guys. I am just going to share my channel with you, the whole session, and I'm going to leave it open for you to decide and think about. A lot of this is really, really heavy concepts, heavy information. I'm about to unload a lot on you. So, I'm very interested to know what your thoughts are. I will tell you mine at the end of the video. But first, I want to answer Summer's main question this week. Would you enter a fairy portal? My answer is yes, I would. I mean, it's me, for one. Who do you think you're talking to? Of course I would. Look, with everything going on here right now, I don't think fairy is that bad of a getaway. I'm just saying. I'm still waiting on, the extraterrestrials to come get me because I'm over it. But anyway, besides all of that, I think it'd be an awesome experience. After all, one of my main fixes to life is a great experience, and that would just be one I could not turn down. My curiosity, all of that. However, I do feel like I have entered fae realms or portals in my dreams. I'm not sure if I did in my waking life. In the other property I used to live at here, we lived at the edge of a national forest. We had a lot of strange goings-ons out there. I should actually sit down and do a video on all of those experiences. This place had a government facility close by, and like my house, you could not even Google. They had it blurred out on the maps. So compasses would not work out there in the woods. You would lose time. I saw a fairy portal out there. It was intertwined between two trees, and I actually took a picture of it and I sent it to Summer in a group chat, and I'm like, Summer, is this fairy portal? Because it really looks like one. She's like, that's a fairy portal. Yep. Yeah, girl. I was like, knew it. I did not go through it. I should have maybe tried, but intuitively too, I didn't feel like I should. It very much had a heavy feeling. So I didn't. I think I should redo my answer to, I would listen to my intuition. If it said go ahead through the portal, I probably would. But if it's screaming at me like it was that day, like, yeah, stay away from it, I would. So really that's my answer. But if I could, oh yeah, like I'd do it. But we had some instances where we were out there exploring the woods and we would lose track of time. Or it felt like 5-10 minutes and 2 hours have gone by. And our compasses wouldn't work when we got lost during this time. It was my son and I. And we started feeling very woozy, very confused almost. We've also seen so many strange things like shape-shifting. I don't care who calls me crazy. I saw a deer walking my dog one day out there, and it passed a gate, and when it came out the other side of that gate, it was a large coyote. Okay? It was a deer and then a coyote, and I seen it with my eyeballs. I saw this, and so did my dog. Another time I was out there, I was walking down the road, and in the woods, you could hear something walking with me. And when I'd stop, it'd stop. And then what really freaked me out, my pity baby rolled over on his back like he was submitting to something. And I just snatched him and started booking it. And I heard footsteps thumping behind me as I am running. I don't know what the hell it was. It was something, but I am telling you, I suspect it was a dog man, but I didn't see it. So, who knows really what it was? Anyway, besides that, there was like hardly any other nature, as in like, there were no fireflies, there were no squirrels, there were no like insect, like, it was bizarre. It would get really quiet out there. There were whistling. There was sometimes voices. There was a time I had heard my son's voice out in them woods, and we were about to call the police, search party, everything, and turned out he was at home the whole time. So, very strange place indeed. Anyway, I forgot where I was going with that, so we're just gonna move along. I don't know how I got from there to there. That's my ADD mind. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the channel with the call group, or I'm calling it the call group. I need to really confirm on that more. I need to talk to them more about the name and all of that. But I was interested in getting a lot of information, and this isn't all that I have. I could share a whole lot more. I've been doing this for days, communicating with them, and these are some of the most wow, mind-blowing information that I am sharing today. But there's a whole lot more because I had so many questions, especially after the last two that I shared with you. And these ones are interesting. So let's get right into it. All right. So the first question, I had asked them about who they were, a little bit more about their background. And they told me they were known as the Fae. And that my intention kind of led this connection to communicating with them. And this time it was interesting because this was a woman. I could hear her voice plainly and clearly. And I asked, well, tell me about Lumeria then. She briefly mentioned. She said, it is underground now where we are. Many places. There are many places underground like you have above. Lumeria is a utopia of sorts. We are a part of it. You had a life here once. I do believe that I've gotten many readings, not only from myself, but other people that say that I've had lifetimes in ancient Lumeria. I said, I know, but I'm confused about them saying I come from a hybrid place in the mountains. She replied, it sounds bizarre, frightening for you, but common knowledge to us, like Mount Shasta, I think it is. I need to look into that. I don't think I've heard of that. Humans seem to feel like it is mystery. They keep it from you, but they know. Many of you are part of this, from mountains all over, where they hide their labs and cities. So I felt like she was saying that, not only me, but it's actually quite a common thing. It's just not common knowledge to us. And that's a big factor in this channel session, is that, there is a huge issue with us thinking that a lot of these things that exist out there are insane, are far out there, when really it's just not common knowledge. We've been trained to believe this way. I said, who is they? She replied, the ones who rule. They rule humans, rule knowledge, gatekeep, contain a system. Because of their rule, you think all this mystery. You think it is crazy or wild. You are all kept busy so that you are none the wiser. All you know is all you know. So when one finds something unknown, they are marked. Crazy, unbelievable. They, quotes, are hybrids too. They have entire cities underground. Will abandon your civilization if catastrophe shall occur. Why do they worry about consequence if they are safe and know you will return one day? I said, are you part of their inner earth civilization? She said, no, we evolved beyond violence, beyond war, beyond greed, beyond seeing ourselves separate. No need to be part of. There was a bit of a grammar thing, the way she spoke. It was probably normal for them, but it's different for us. So she's telling me here that things like Rochelle, me, Carla, other people have said or suspected for a while that maybe the powers that be are kind of not really the ones in charge, but specific beings. And she is confirming this and saying that not only that, but they have entire cities and civilizations underground. So this video will probably be shadow banned. Anyway, do they know about you? No, but cannot find, only if want to be found. I said, why do you let me know? Part of us before, and one day, was her response. Maybe part again, but it is good for you. Why you came there? I said, I came here for me to grow. She replied, yes, and you open your heart and mind. So I think what this means is a lot of people don't even get the opportunity to connect and communicate with other things or other beings to confirm this for themselves because they're not opening their mind and heart to it. At this point in time of the communication, my chest started feeling very, very warm. Where I told you in previous videos, I went to the inner earth and she had put her finger through my chest and it lit up. And I said, my chest is warm where you poked me. She said, not poke, resonate. I asked, resonate? She said, spoke to your DNA code so you could know. And I said, you weren't helping me for the death of my mom. That is what I assumed that was. I thought she was like, here, let's make your heart strong so you can get through the death of your mother, because she did this the day before my mom died. I thought it was like, oh, these beings were helping me, but according to her, it was for something completely different, which kind of shocked me. It was not that it really disappointed me, but it just kind of surprised me, I guess. She said yes and no, not intent, but helps make you strong. The light activates DNA. I said, well, tell me about DNA. She said it connects everything. Everything alive shares 99% DNA. 1% conscious individual. Look at it like voices. Everyone has voices, but your language is your DNA, 1%. So that was interesting to me. For one, I had to look this up. It's true. Everything alive shares the majority of the same DNA. That little bit of percent is like our individual codes. And she was saying, look at everything like it is. I mean, again, that's that big connection when we say we're all one. Could consciousness be in our DNA? They say it's your life force. They say all this other stuff. But we really don't even fully understand DNA or consciousness. That's just a thought I had. But anyway, everything is like connected. Look at DNA or us in this symbol as like we are all one voice, but the languages we speak is that little bit of DNA that separates us. But is it even really truly separated? Because even though you have different languages, we can all speak the same thing, right? Same words, same meanings. Anyway, what is special about blood types, I ask. She said it is your program, a tool to navigate reality and your fingerprint in the world. I said, well, tell me about the world, about reality. She said, you cannot understand, you cannot even see most reality missing to humans, dark matter. You see and experience 5% of reality, like an ant trying to see the world through you, but cannot. Their reality is huge to them, but limited compared to what you perceive. It goes on and on. You are an ant in this scenario. So what she means by on and on, I'm taking it as like the dimensions. She confirms that in what we talk about next. I said, what is dark matter? She said, matter you can't perceive in higher dimensions, matter that interacts with higher light. It does not interact with third dimension light, therefore not perceived. Like the ant, in 2 dimension. Reality is not determined by your brain. I said, what? Explain. Your brain does not tell the difference between imagination and reality. You cannot tell the difference. The nature of reality for you guys is all illusion because of this fact. You simulate in a simulator for learning. Reality is built on the world you believe it to be. When your kind understands this, you will not fault yourselves or each other and can create what we have created. All you see is a reconstruction, not real reality, and you always see a delay of the perceived now. So that got me thinking, and I asked her, so then we can't really make choices then? Like the whole argument, free will, fate, like if this is true, carry it further, basically. She said, yes, before, but while here, it has already been decided. I said, so we are fated. She said, yes, reaction comes before choice. You are programmed this way. Your consciousness is the narrator for life, higher self, controlled, programmed before you come. You justify for choice so you can function. I said, how does this information help humanity? Because initially when I sat down with her, I asked for stuff that'll help humanity. Like, I feel like humanity's really in trouble. What information can be helpful to humanity? She said, so you know compassion. Your kind judges with assuming someone could choose differently. Causes lots of hate, pain, turmoil. Hold accountable, but hold understanding and a compassion. Rehabilitate guilt into action of solution and change. You may not have all free will, but you can direct will. Teach each other to examine and question why something came up through someone, which led to perceived choice. Change is possible. You may not have full will because it is passed down in DNA, passed down in program. So this goes so much more deep-rooted in our programming than we are even consciously aware of. Therefore, choices are being made from our unconscious all the time. And if we're not conscious of it, are we truly making the choices then? And sometimes people make choices based off of their perceived programming, things that they were programmed to think, feel, etc. And if this is the case, are we truly always at fault? It's interesting to think about. So therefore, I asked, so is our brain like the ego or something? It seems almost like a huge factor for illusions. In a big way, we can be influenced in this reality. She said, yes, brain can be and is programmed when you are and aren't aware. It feels like your identity, your mind, but it was made for you by the world around you, which we already said is illusion, coded, schools, traditions, truths, lies, rebellion, everything programmed. They know and control through this. So, if we are being programmed, I asked, we hardly have a choice and everything is a lie or illusion. What is the whole point? She got really loud with this answer. Hear me clear. You built and chose this for something great. The problem is those who know those truths and control deceive the purpose of the reality and life. They hijacked it to manipulate it. They have to keep you not knowing to keep you here. At first, Earth wasn't this way. A puppet programmed by certain beings. What you are here for to learn is to reclaim, reprogram, rebuild, rebelieve. Free yourself. It is up to everyone to do this, and eventually it'll change as their power is lost. You ask what the point is. Become aware, intelligent enough to ask why on everything. To rewrite your story, to free your mind, is to free you. The point is intelligence, progression, evolution, possible outcomes, and to be who you truly are, not who you were built up and manipulated to be. I knew this, I said. I only asked because I knew others will ask that question if they hear this information. Of course, there is way more nuance to all of this that you are telling me. She said, yes, so much more. So here's the thing. I did a lot of research after getting this information. What's interesting, a lot of science can actually back this up. A lot of scientists have even asked about free will and all of these things and the way our brains are programmed, the way it interacts with reality around us. All of this and what she said and what I looked into last night, can be backed and confirmed by science. So my whole thing on this is, it's very, very difficult for me right now to believe that this is not a simulated reality and that we are not a code or an AI of some sorts. And this is my personal belief and analysis. You don't have to believe it. You can take it or leave it, but I just find this fascinating. So our true selves, our true beings, our higher self, who is controlling all of this possibly before we come here, is it possible they're more intelligent beings? We are, our higher versions of us, who built a simulation through us, the avatars, all for our spiritual advancement and our intelligence. It's all very, very odd to think about. This carries me so much further into information that I really need to process and think about and sit with and figure out for myself, like, what do I believe? What can I observe? What can I get out of this information to help me and to further me along? I feel like there's a lot of good in that. I think some people could look at this and be like, well, if none of it's real, if it's all illusions, if it's all simulation, then what the hell's the point? We can do what we want. But no, that isn't the point of this. The point of knowing this, like she said, is to know that we are here to learn things like compassion, understanding. We are here to learn how to break free and think for ourselves. You know, taking a bite of that forbidden fruit. How can we relieve ourselves of our programming? Something that a lot of occultists all do. But if you look at it in a bigger, broader perspective and really think deeply on this, it's really much bigger than just deprogramming out of religious stuff or deprogramming out of this or that. It's literally deprogramming your entire life, everything you were thought to believe, everything that you know, and challenging yourself to really go deep, deep within your own being. Look at yourself like a giant mansion and open up these doors you've never opened before or considered looking at, to ask these questions and really ask where everything you think and believe and feel came from. And deciphering if it comes from you, your higher self, or the world. That's big. That's a lot. My mind's like, right now. And is that the key to ascension? I don't know. But I think it's interesting to really challenge myself, because I do have a certain set of beliefs, like, you know, reincarnation and believing that we come here with free will, but like the bigger things are fated. But what if it's all fated and we're also here to learn to direct our will to change that, right? Anyway, it's all like mind-blowing. I hope it made sense to you guys. I think that the right people, it'll make a bit more sense to the information. And I think if some of us just ain't ready to hear that or think about that kind of stuff, then you're not ready for it, and that's completely fine. Not everyone's on a different journey, a different path, you know? I wanted to share it just because I think it's fun to bring forward information or perspectives to challenge us to think, right? I'm not saying this is the truth, it's the ultimate truth. I'm saying we need to challenge what truth is, what reality is, because according to what I researched and what she's saying, all of reality is literally a trick of the brain, a trick of our beliefs and what we're molded and programmed to believe that it is. So if we really want to change the fabric of our reality, we need to be that Lilith. I'm going to think about all this, sit with it, and I'm thinking about doing one full video of all the spreads. I haven't gotten around to doing a lot of that with the tarot because I feel like I'm really on to something connecting here with like the channeling. So to me, it's almost like a portal between talking to them, and it's become successful. So I run with what has been working for me, if that makes sense. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it interesting and fascinating. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.